Almost 27,000 men have played in at least one NFL game, according to Pro Football Reference. Many of them have been loved and admired by fans, the media, teammates, and even opponents. But let's be honest, most of those 27,000 players aren't well known to the average person. But some NFL players, even ones that many people love, have made so many people hate them that it's hard to understand. They could be hated because of how aggressively they play, how strange they are, or just because they're so dang good. No matter why people hate these players, the fact that they made people dislike them should be acknowledged. We've made a list of the NFL players that people hate the most. Starting us off, I see myself not only as a football player, but an entertainer and an icon. Newton said those famous words before he even played his first NFL game. Since then, some people have seen him in a certain way. They wondered if he was a me-first player. And even though he's been in the NFL for 10 years, won MVP, and set the record for quarterback rushing touchdowns, some people still don't like his style. Even high schoolers have made fun of Newton. It's not just the "get off my lawn" crowd that has done this. At a camp that Newton was running, a young player attacked Newton to get his 15 minutes of social media fame.
Excitement as Cam Newton returns as the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
And it's so contagious, you can feel it here in this stadium. I'm so excited to see him run out of this tunnel.
Oh, you're about to feel it for yourselves.
Next, when you're the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, you're always in the spotlight because you're a celebrity as well as a football player. Tony Romo got many chances that other people wouldn't have had, like endorsements and a comfortable TV job. He followed in the footsteps of Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, and Don Meredith. But Romo's three predecessors went on to a total of 9 NFL championship games or the Super Bowl and won 5 rings between them, while Romo never even made it to an NFC championship game. Still, he is one of the most famous and wealthy football players because he wore a star on his helmet, and many people don't like that. Harrison's dislike comes from a lot of different places. One reason is that he played for the Patriots, which makes fans of other teams hate him. Another is that he was suspended for using HGH during the 2004 season, including when the Patriots won Super Bowl 38. But the thing that makes people hate Harrison the most is that he is known as one of the dirtiest NFL players ever. 3 times during his career, the former All-Pro safety was voted the dirtiest player in the league. He got the dishonor in 2004, 2006, and 2008. The first 2 times, players voted for him, and the last time, NFL coaches did. Harrison was the worst bully in the most testosterone-driven sports league in the world. He was called Debo because of the movie Friday. He had the old-school attitude of kill or be killed, and he once said, "So be it," if his hard hits caused him to get brain damage. Harrison's quote about Goodell also didn't help him in the eyes of the NFL, as it seemed like Harrison would get called for a penalty if he so much as breathed on an opposing player.
Completes it. Anderson brought down right away by James Harrison. Able to throw over to McGuire. Picks up about 4, and again Harrison, one of those in on the...
Moving on, some people don't like goat cheese, and some just don't like goats. And Tom Brady is a great example of this. If you like one of the teams he's beaten, which is pretty much all of them, you probably hate him. In a league that was made to be fair, Brady has been to 10 Super Bowls and won 7 of them. He's also won with 2 different teams. Some New Englanders who have always liked Brady now dislike him. Brady's win with the Bucs showed that the Patriots' success had more to do with him than with the team as a whole. Because of this, some Patriot fans hate Brady because he's no longer on their team. A poll taken right before the 2020 playoffs showed that people hate Brady very much. Brady was voted the most hated NFL player by a wide majority of the country, from coast to coast.
Not a lot of firsts we can ask you about anymore in your career, but this was a first today for the NFL and for you. And talked about the effort level this week. What changed for this offense today?
Awesome. Big guys up front played great.
There are many reasons to dislike Bill Romanowski, like when he admitted to using steroids, when he spat on opponents, when he kicked players in the head, when he was accused of being racist, or when he broke the eye socket of a teammate. In 1997, Romanowski was fined $7,500 for spitting in the face of receiver J.J. Stokes, and his former Broncos teammate Shannon Sharp said the fine would have been higher if Romo was black. Romanowski didn't like what Sharp said, and a few years later, when they were playing against each other, Romo clearly broke Sharp's elbow. Sharp didn't surprise anyone when he said Romo number 1 and 2, 3, and 4 when asked who the dirtiest NFL player was.
Bigger to me is walking out on a football field knowing you're going to win and knowing you're going to kick somebody's you-know-what.
Why do some people hate Ray Lewis, who was cleared of murder charges, more than they hate Ray Caruth, who was found guilty of murder conspiracy? Because Caruth only wore an NFL jersey a few times, while Lewis destroyed offenses for 17 years. Lewis was arguably the best middle linebacker in NFL history, which is one reason why so many people outside of Baltimore hate him. But another big reason why people don't like Lewis was that he often used God as an excuse for everything. One example of this was when Lewis was asked what he would say to the families of the men he had killed. He replied, "God has never made a mistake. If you knew how God really works, you'd know that he doesn't use people who do things like that for his glory."
I remember in Baltimore's history is the Memorial Stadium. The first day in the locker room, and I remember telling Eric Turner.
Next, many fans think that Tebow could be the best college quarterback of all time and the worst pro quarterback of all time at the same time. But his faith and his desire to talk about it in public really set him apart from some of his NFL peers. In 2010, when Tebow went to the NFL Combine, he and other people were all going to take the Wonderlic test. Just before the game started, Tebow asked everyone if they could bow their heads and pray. One of the players told him, "Shut the F up," which made everyone laugh.
Tebow throws it on a looping pass to Mostert. First down and a whole lot more.
Misses Tebow, and then what appeared to be a wonderful play by Trevor Raleigh turns into be a...
Next up, Colin Kaepernick is the NFL player who has caused the most trouble. Some people love him for having the courage to kneel during the national anthem to protest police brutality and racial injustice, but many others didn't like what he did and stopped going to games because of it. Right after he started kneeling, a poll showed that he was the most disliked NFL player, with 29% of people saying they disliked him a lot, compared to only 6% before he kneeled. But dislike isn't a strong enough word for how many people felt, and in some cases still feel, about Kaepernick. He was threatened with death in many ways. Because he was the face of a social justice movement that the NFL would eventually embrace, this hatred cost him millions of dollars in lost endorsements and kept him out of the NFL.
Crowd and players stand. You can see Kaepernick kneeling on the sideline. Teammate Eric Reed joining him.
As we move on to the next player, you could have made a good case that the Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers was one of the most popular players in NFL history before the 2020 season. Oh, how things change in a year. It all started when Rodgers ruined the 2021 NFL draft by letting it be known at the time the picks were made that he wanted to be traded, and he lied about whether or not he'd been vaccinated. Now all he does is make cringeworthy moments for podcast interviews. Public's opinion of the three-time NFL most valuable player has really changed. Is it fair? Rodgers is the best NFL example we can think of the saying, "You either die the hero or live long enough to be the villain." That's all, guys. Well, who do you dislike the most among these players?